When people first ask me what I do during a school day, I first eat. Then I go to school, then I work, and that cycle gets repeated 5 days a week. For 26 weeks, 180 days, 1,440 hours, it's like time never stops. I hear the clock ticking. I need the grade. I need the school. I need to win. I need to. Shoot! I have a paper due. Ugh, I'm so tired. If I just. Hi, I'm Laura.
And I'm Anushka.
And we're the co-hosts for The People We Meet, a podcast where we dive into stories and conversations from teen perspectives.
In this episode, we'll be talking about something many of us are all too familiar with: procrastination.
If I had a nickel for every time I spent procrastinating, I think I'd be a millionaire by now. It's surreal, but what if I told you that 86 to 98% of high schoolers procrastinated? It's okay. We've all been there. So, to get a first-hand perspective, I sat down with Aya, a current junior who attends high school in Southern California, where we dive into what procrastination looks like at a student level and what it means to take a step back and recuperate from the moment.
Listen closely to her story, and then stick around, because we'll later be unpacking it with Dr. Holly Searley, a licensed family and marriage therapist, who will help us understand why we procrastinate and how we can begin to overcome it.
Hi everyone. I'm here with my really good friend Aya, who is also a junior and she goes to high school in Southern California. So Aya, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi guys, I'm Aya.
And what's funny is that we've known each other for a very long time. So I first met Aya. We became friends in third grade. And
Third grade? I thought it was like second grade.
second grade? Maybe second grade. Oh my god. I promise. Like,
We've been friends for a long time.
do you remember how we met?
No, I don't. It was
Yeah,
too
I
long
honestly
ago. We've just been friends. Like, I don't remember when we weren't friends.
just remember playground and that's about it. Anyway, I've known Aya for such a long time. I've known her since she was rocking that whole Justice outfit. If any of you guys remember Justice, with that flippy sweet sequins shirt.
Don't even bring that back. Oh my gosh.
And I'm really excited to be doing this with you, Aya.
I'm glad to be here.
And so, one thing that we both actually have in common is that number one, we have a lot of siblings. I think that's another thing we have in common. But one thing is that we're both very, very busy girls as juniors.
Yeah.
And so, sometimes because we're so busy, that I think that can really get the best of us. So, here again, I was going to be talking about, I guess, like, how she deals with procrastination and how to really get back on it and really recover, I guess, from a session when you feel like you're so low and down at a certain point. Anyway, so Aya, do you want to kind of like walk me through a typical day for you? Because I know you have so many different things that you do outside of school.
Yeah, okay. So, typical day for me, I usually wake up, like, make my bed, make breakfast, make lunches for me and my siblings.
Wait, that's so sweet.
Yeah. Make lunches, make breakfast. I go to school. I do my classwork. During lunch, I have like club meetings. So if that's like NHS or BSU, which I'm on the board of that, or if it's RoCap or anything like that, I have those meetings. And then, I continue with my day. After school, I either go to high school practice, which is like 2 to 3 hours, or I go home and then I go to club practice, which is like 2-ish hours in the nighttime.
Oh my goodness. And then you also have to do homework too.
Yes, yes, I do.
And so, like because I mean, I play a sport, but it's nowhere near as much as how much you play for water polo.
Mm.
I would guess like how much, do you know how many hours like a week do you spend on water polo and just schoolwork and other activities in general?
So it really varies because, like, during the summer, I was doing like 9 hour days, like
Oh wow.
5, 6 days a week. But during the school year, if I'm in like high school season, I do like 2 to 3 hours a day, like max, 5 days a week. So it's not that much. And then homework, it varies. I really like to space out my homework and try to do it mostly on the weekends and not have it during the week so I'm not stressed. So I only do like 1 to 2 hours of homework a day, maybe.
Girl, I'm gonna be so honest. When I do my schoolwork, I usually do it the night before it's due.
That's me too. But I really try to implement systems so that doesn't happen to me. Because if that happens, I'm done for the week. Like, I just give up.
Do you ever feel like there's enough time in the day?
Yeah, I always feel like there's not enough of the time that I need to get things done. I often have to, like, just do, like, what's it called? Like, triage my stuff. Like, I do whatever's most important, and then I just give up on the rest of the stuff.
I mean, for me, like, okay, I feel like I do think, okay, I think it's like yes and no. Like, I do know that sometimes I do wish there was more time for things, but at the same time, I do wish, like, for example, when I do, like, assignments due, um, at a certain time, I do think that I wish I've done it earlier too. So it's just like that idea of like always pushing it off and never like getting a chance to doing it. I think that's what really gets me. Because is it just me, but I only do my schoolwork when I feel that panic in me.
Yeah, I feel like the panic really drives me as well. But then sometimes the panic is too much for me, so I know how that feels and I want to avoid that. So sometimes I do it like earlier than that because I am so busy, so I need all the time I can get.
What kinds of tasks do you tend to procrastinate the most on?
Um, on things that are like busy work, like tedious things that I just don't want to do. And most of it's either that or it's things that I just don't understand because I don't really want to use the mental power to truly understand what I'm doing.
No, no, no. I feel like I definitely agree. I've noticed that, like, okay, a lot of the things I don't end up doing, it's like the ones that I'm dreading the most. And I feel like it's like it's like I'm a little bit scared to starting, you know? Like, I just get so tired so easily. And, I feel I feel like I'm never, like for a long time, like, I'm not, I would say, on top of it, you know?
Yeah.
And I do think it's really hard with classes that are hard. But
I understand that. I'm a full international baccalaureate diploma student and I'm an AB student as well, so I truly understand like difficulty of course load and stuff like that.
I was just gonna ask how do you balance out between being like an athlete but then also having taking such hard like loads, like a very hard class load?
I really prioritize my free time in using it to get stuff done. So whenever I have a free moment, I really try to use it to get like the best out of like be the most productive. So for example, over the week, I really like to know what I'm gonna do over the week to like the weekend. I like to know what I'm gonna do for the next week, and so I try to plan accordingly. So if I have a quiz and I need to take notes for it, instead of taking the notes on like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'll take them on Sunday or I'll take them on Saturday, or I'll just try to prep as best as possible for the week ahead.
Mm, I see. What are the like I guess like what are the tips that you've found were most helpful? in terms of keeping it, like like I just like keeping like all your assignments like done at a certain time, and just like just stop procrastination.
So, some of the things that I like to use is when I have a big calendar in my room, and once a month I go through all my classes' syllabuses, and I write down all the tests and things that we have to do, just so I have a visual that every time I walk into my room, I see it, and I know, hey, this is what I'm doing for this day, this is when I have my next test, so I can, like, mentally prepare, and I'm never, like, shocked for a test. Before I used to, like, walk into class and be like, oh, we have a test today? I didn't know we had a test. But now I'm, like, I'm more aware of that. And then also, to make sure I don't forget to do assignments, I have a note tab on my computer, and I make a list of the assignments that I have to do. And then when I get home every day, I come home, I sit down, I write down like my must do assignments that are due that day, and like my may do assignments that would make my day easier. And then I just sit down as soon as I get home, and I just write them down, and I just do as much as I can. And I feel that really, like, crossing it out and seeing it really makes it easier for me to complete those assignments.
I see. You know, I think, are you a big fan of Notion?
I've never used it.
So you just use like the notes tab on like I guess like a Mac?
No, I have like an app. I have an app. It's like a notepad, and it sticks onto my dashboard, and then I can just write directly on there, like it's like a checklist.
Oh, I see. I used to have like, I think when, because we both went to the elementary at the same elementary school, and they would give us like physical planners.
Yeah.
And so I guess like my sophomore year, I had a planner and I would write everything. But I think the problem for me with that planner was that if I forgot it like one day, like I feel like it would just ruin my flow.
Yeah. That's why.
I don't know if that happens to people. That's why I moved to an electronic note taker, and I use Notion. But then sometimes I'm gonna be honest, sometimes I forget to use it sometimes.
Yeah, I don't like using like planners because I feel like if you forget, it just messes everything up. Like you can never recover from like because I feel like it has to be perfect if you're using a planner. That's why I just like checklists because it's easy. It's like no stress. It's no like it's no obligation. It's just here's what I have to do today. Check, 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 and then you can cross things out, and it's easier and it's less stressful for me.
Okay, wait, another big thing. Okay, because I'm gonna be really honest. I sometimes get into a rut where it's like it's like when I don't have anything, like when I don't have like because for like the things that I do outside of school, it's very I would say it's like quite flexible, you know? So it's not like okay, I need to be like practice this day. Like I don't like for me it's not really like that. It's more like I have things I need to get done, and then I can kind of do it like kind of like whenever I want to. But there of course is a deadline, right? And so on the days that I don't have to go into like a specific place, I think that's when I think I procrastinate the most. And one of the main things that I have a really big problem is I have a really big problem with snacking. So because like during school I'm so tired, okay? I'm like because I feel like people don't understand like, students they go through so much during school, okay? It's like a work day, and so I feel like so many people forget like okay, think about it, it's like an 8 to 5 work day, but then you forget that kids have extracurriculars they gotta do, they got homework they gotta do, and they have to do all of this again, I guess like so they can go to college and they can I guess like pursue their careers, but it's a lot asking for like a kid starting at 14 years old, you know?
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm so tired, you know, and I start eating, okay? And I start eating like and you know, eating takes a really long like I guess like eating for me kind of takes long. Like it's not like a quick thing. Like there's so many things I want to eat, so I eat like a bunch of different things. And then like kind of like the hours go by and then after that I'm like, okay, you want to know what would go really well with me eating? Like Instagram, watching reels, that would make me feel so good. And then that happens and the time passes by and you know like I guess like I sometimes and then I have dinner. Like so I eat like more food, okay? Dinner. And then I'm done and I feel so full like I don't feel very good, like my stomach doesn't feel very good. And then And then after that, I watch more reels and then I realize, oh my gosh, it is 10 p.m. and I have so much work I gotta do.
Yeah, I totally understand that. I've been there.
So my thing is like, how do you get from like coming back from home and just working? Like, just get on that.
Okay. So the number one thing I like to do is when I make a snack, I make like one thing, I put it on a plate and I bring it with me to where I'm studying, right? And then about the social media thing, I've gotten so addicted. When they talk about like social media addiction, it is a real thing. I've had it. Like, it's not a joke. So what I like to do is like during the weekdays, I delete like my social media, or like I had a long cleanse at one point where I just deleted it until like I needed to post something on there or I needed to use it for something. But I try to delete it and be off of it as much as possible, especially if I'm doing my homework. And so what I like to do is I like to get my snack. I like to bring it with me to my desk. And then the first thing I do is I write down exactly what I have to do. Because I feel like when you're thinking about it, it overwhelms you. And you feel like you have way too much you have to do and there's not enough time to do it all. But when you really write it down and you really qualify it, it makes it a lot easier to complete the tasks. So then I just sit down and I grind it out and I do what I need to do.
See, the problem is though, is that so I've done the deleting Instagram. I'm be honest, I deleted it, but then you want to know where I added it? I added it to my Safari.
Oh, yeah. I have it on my Safari and I feel like it's easier for me because I'm not always on it. Like, because I feel like, I don't know, I have it on my computer, but I feel like it's less easy to access, so I'm not accessing as much. Like, on my phone, I just swipe. Like, even after I delete it, I still have the habit of swiping to the place it is and, like, clicking. Like, I'm not even thinking about it, and I'm still clicking, and I'm not even, like, trying to get to Instagram, you know? And I'm still like clicking to get to it. So that's how I know. I'm like, oh, there's a problem here. Because even if it's deleted, I'm still trying to, like, my brain is wired to just go there immediately as soon as I turn on my phone. So I was like, oh, there's a problem. We can't be doing this anymore.
And you want to know something that's really hard, I think, that a lot of people don't grasp. And I'm going to be honest, like, so all the time, like, my timer for Instagram is like, oh, already been on an hour, like,
Oh,
10
yeah,
minutes.
yeah, yeah. Just the
I
decline.
know, but you think
For the
about it,
folder.
if you do that every single day, and I'm gonna be honest, like, I've done that, okay? Like, I still do it, I still do it, like, I'm trying to really improve from that. But it's 1/24th of your day, I mean, sorry, 1/24th of your day, 1/24th of your year, a 24th of basically, like, it's gonna accumulate to your life.
Yeah, that scares me. Like, have you seen those, like, graphs where they draw a dot for every year of your life?
Yeah, and you want to know something? It's like, okay, the problem, I feel like it's like really hurtful because like it's like that like short-term effect, the short-term like little boost of your endorphins, feeling happy, right? But then it's like, I feel like it's really hard, and it's like, I guess it's like a love and hate relationship because it feels really good, but then at the same time it's like you see all these amazing things on social media. Like, you see these cool places to travel. You see these cool people doing amazing things, okay? And I feel like procrastination, it like, it can stop you from doing that,
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, it's kind of like
You're watching it instead of
yeah,
doing it.
it's like a fantasy. And so, like, I feel like it's really hard though because it's so addicting. But then it's like taking so much of your life away, you know?
Yeah, I truly agree with that.
But I guess, like, do you usually only use like Instagram, or do you use like other things too?
I don't have any other social media now. I only
Okay.
have Instagram.
I'm gonna be honest, the short form content really hits me hard. I don't have TikTok, but
Yes.
I do look at YouTube, and YouTube shorts, they're so addictive.
I totally agree.
I think it's like, it's just like, that boost of new content. I think it's really hard to stay away from it.
Yeah, and it's messing up our attention spans because the more we want that, the harder it is to stay focused for anything longer than that.
Because I was also reading that, like, for example, like procrastination, like, I feel like it can also happen, like when you have a lot going on, like when you're really stressed out, like, because sometimes if you're not feeling stressed out, like, for example, I feel like, okay, procrastination, like going on your phone is like a one type of procrastination, but another type of procrastination could be like, like doing something else, I guess. But like, for example, if like you're gonna draw, and compared to like you going on your phone, like drawing is physically healthier for you than rather than like looking up on a computer screen. But I was basically reading that sometimes, like, when you have a lot of stress and you have a lot of pressure going on, people tend to like want that like very like fast boost of endorphins. Yeah. And so I guess, like, do you ever like feel the pressure in both, like, I guess, like, because you also do sports, so academics and sports, and do you think that like kind of like sometimes can like kind of spark a little bit about that procrastination, or do you think like being more busy helps limit procrastination?
I feel like being more busy makes it more like evident because like you get more so stressed that you like almost shut down. You feel like, oh, like what if this, what if this, what if that, and then you just can't think properly, and then you just end up not doing the thing you need to do.
I also think because we both live in California, and I do think that in high school it is so hard, okay? It is so hard, I guess, like, we have a lot of pressure to get into these top schools. Like, everyone, I think, has a lot of pressure. And it can sometimes feel like because you it can feel like sometimes a little bit of competition. I'm not, like, it's not, like, it's a really bad thing. And, it doesn't feel great, you know? And so I feel like at the same time, like, high schools, I feel like in colleges, they expect us to already like how to know how to be a perfect student, study, have really good study habits, have really good time management skills. But I feel like we're never really taught that. It's kind of like you're just supposed to have it already, you know? And I find it really, really hard. So I like sometimes wish that there was just like a class or something, or just like something we were taught when we were younger, you know? Do you I mean, do you feel like what are ways, okay, cuz when I go to obviously when I go to like when I come back from school, I sometimes need a break, you know? So either getting a snack or doing something else. What are some things, like, do you go like right away, like do you just go straight to work, or do you take like a little mini break?
I feel like if I take a break, I'm not gonna stop taking a break. You know? Like you take a break and then it gets harder and harder for you to get up and do what you want to do because you're like it feels so good to take a break, you know? So like what I've been implementing recently is I just get home and I just go because I feel like it shocks you into doing it almost. So you just do exactly what you need to do and it's faster that way. And then you have more time to have a break.
Wait, also, this is like, as an athlete, is there like a specific amount of time you need to sleep? Like, do you try to get to bed at a certain time?
Oh yeah. Sleep is very important for everyone, not only athletes. Um, a lot of things say you should sleep 8 hours, but you should really be sleeping like 10ish hours every night. I'm generally pretty good about my sleep. I value sleep over anything else. So if I have like something to study for and sleep, I'm going to sleep because I know that's gonna benefit me more in the long term than
Oh
like
my god.
studying for something.
Okay, wait. In your opinion, do you think sleep over studying?
Sleep, 100%.
Is there a reason why?
There's been so many studies that show like if you do like your homework and then you go to sleep right after, you're more likely to retain the information. And then sleep is just so important for you. It's important for your immune system and other things such as that. And it just makes you a healthy.
No, I definitely agree.
But I'm not saying like, oh, I'm the perfect person. I go to sleep at like this time every night, because that often doesn't happen. But I really try to prioritize it. You know?
And so, I guess, like, okay, one more thing I've also noticed is that okay, I think there's like people need to know like I feel like we should try to get in activity, like I guess like exercising because I heard that exercising really resets you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like if you exercise before you like study or something, it makes it more enjoyable and it makes it easier for you to do like the studying or whatever. That's a fact. There's such.
And do you feel like I guess like do you feel like people like I guess like other high school students like understand like I guess like how big procrastination is? Like in terms of like everyone like, everyone kind of struggles with it, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I truly believe at my school at least, um, that a lot of people have the same struggles that I do because we have such a rigorous like my school is based in rigor and most of the people there are trying to do the best they can. Like for example, we have like 83 or something full IB diploma candidates like this year, like juniors that are going to be graduating. So I think that's a very big deal and I think that a lot of them like share the same struggles as me because we do have that many IB and that many AP students at our school.
Do you ever feel like sometimes like I guess like procrastination can also correlate with like feeling you're not doing enough?
Yeah, 100%. That's what I was like kind of alluding to when I was talking about the like shutting down thing. Because when you're thinking like, oh, I'm not doing enough, you just end up truly not doing enough, you know?
No, I definitely agree, you know? And so, do you think has your time management improved since your freshman year?
Yeah, totally. During freshman year, I didn't have as big of a course load as I do now, but I do remember like I took my first AP class. I took AP Human Geography, and it was my first time being exposed to like the amount of note taking as an AP like history class or AP social studies class, and it was very stressful. And I remember like I just couldn't handle it all, and it was just very stressful for me. But now over the years, like I've gotten good at it. I know that to for proper things like especially for social studies classes, you need to take the notes on the weekend so you're not stressed during the week. And I feel like yeah, I have improved greatly in that like aspect.
What would you say? Because, okay, what would you say motivates you when you feel like you're running out of time or you feel like you're running out of energy? Because I feel like really hard, like it's really hard to feel motivated when you're tired.
Um, Usually if I'm tired and I don't feel motivated, I don't really get motivated. I just kind of like either finish it or I just give up. But I never really get motivated. I'm not one person to like procrastinate to the max. I never really have any missing assignments or late work. So if something's really not like clicking, I'll just wait and I'll do it when it's due, you know, like in opposed to doing it early.
Mm, I see. I guess, like, okay, as someone who's struggling with procrastination, what is one tip that you'd give to people if they're struggling and how to get out of that rut?
First of all, I would say like one, assignments aren't as big as you think they are. Like have you ever like done an assignment that you've been dreading and you're like, "Oh, that wasn't that bad."
Definitely.
So sometimes it's good to like really think about how long it's going to take you and then when you're doing your like listing out the assignments you have to do, if you could do it and you can list it out and you can time block it, you'll be like, oh, I'll be done in an hour and a half if I actually like study. And then after that, you have free time. You could do whatever you want because you've done everything you need to do. If you get what you need to do done, then you have like all the time in the world to do what you want to do.
Very, very well said. Well, again, I want to thank you. I mean, those are I feel like we've really knelt down through a lot of good points today. And I guess like towards like the end, is there anything that you would want to say, I guess to people that not many people know about in terms of procrastination and you really want people to take away today?
Um, yeah, everybody struggles with procrastination. It's the people who figure out a way to deal with it that actually succeed. So if you know you're procrastinating, you understand that that's an issue you have. If you're not changing it, you're choosing it. You're choosing to have late work. You're choosing to struggle in class. You're choosing to do these things. So the most important thing is to, if you know you're doing something wrong, to just make a change. It doesn't have to be like a gymnastic change, but it just has to be kind of slight, so that it could be sustainable for you in the future. So if that's like making a list of things you need to do so you don't forget, or if that's like putting a calendar for yourself or setting reminders. It doesn't have to be a big thing like I'm going to study for 10 hours every day and do this and this and this, because that's not sustainable. But it just has to be small so that you can be changing your habits. You can change your life, you know?
Well, okay. I think that's it, everyone. Give it up for Aya. Well, okay. Anyway,
That was Aya sharing her own take on procrastination. Now, take a listen as Laura and I sit down with Dr. Searly to talk about different methods we can use to tackle this habit and regain our sense of control in a time that might seem impossible. So thank you so much for meeting with us, Holly. We are pleased to have you on The People We Meet, which is our podcast about teen wellness and teen life stories.
That's a cool name.
Thank you. Thank you. Would you mind just please starting us off by introducing yourself to our listeners and who you are?
Sure. I am Holly Searly, and I've been licensed as a marriage and family therapist since 1979. A long time. I specialize I have two specialties, and one is couples therapy, and the other is ADHD, all ages, and co-occurring conditions with ADHD.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I think we might honestly just jump right into the questions if that's okay with you.
Sure.
Fantastic. Okay. So, for this episode, we wanted to kind of cover about executive functioning and time management and just sort of the struggles that teenagers and really everyone faces with this topic. And given your expertise with working with a lot of individuals with ADHD, I'm sure you know that it can be a challenge for many
Right.
people. So I just want to start off by asking, when we talk about executive functioning as a term, what exactly does that mean for middle and high school students?
Right. Well, it means the same thing across the ages, but how it affects students, the middle school and high school students, you're absolutely right. It can affect them in some ways differently. So executive functions are the brain's ability to organize and manage time. And by organize, that means organize space, organize my thinking, organize a paper, organize an essay, organize the books in my room, organize and manage time, short term and long term. And for middle school students, they've just come out of elementary school and into the middle school, and life gets more complicated. There are usually different teachers, different classes, different teachers teaching different classes, so there are different expectations. And so students have to learn how to manage those different subjects and the relationships with the different teachers and manage their time more independently. And that's tough. And then in high school, it just ramps up even more.
Great, thank you. Yeah, excellent points, I think, which many of us can relate to ourselves. I'm going to pass it off to Laura, who has a couple points she'd like to follow up with as well.
Sure.
No, definitely. I think it was very interesting on what you said. And so when I think of specifically big tasks that I have to do as a junior, I noticed that sometimes, like after a full day of school, like multiple classes, multiple things, like multiple lectures, when I get home, I am just so tired. I'm extremely tired, I want to take a nap. But what I do instead is I just usually go on my phone, and sometimes when I'm on my phone and I scroll, I go on social media, I'm there for hours, and sometimes I wonder, like, why exactly do I do this? Because I know in my head I have so many different tasks I need to do, but I just always end up on some sort of like phone screen, social media app, and I sometimes wonder, is it just because I'm scared of the big tasks, or rather is it just but what I'm trying to ask is, why does this usually happen? Usually, like when we know that we have a big task, but why is it that like a lot of students, like procrastination is a problem, and we tend to like put those off until our brains are kind of panicking, telling us, okay, we really need to do it.
Right, avoiding a complex or multi-step task until the deadline is looming. Right. So let me work backwards. When the deadline is looming, it increases our anxiety a bit. And when our anxiety increases, it increases neurotransmitters in our brains that allow us to get busy and override either the fear or the avoidance of a task that is more complicated. And so that anxiety triggers a cascade of certain neurotransmitters in the brain that say, go do it. And then we get on it. And so all of a sudden our brain works better, dopamine functioning improves, and we're able to get a wiggle on and get work accomplished that we couldn't accomplish before. I'm not saying that it's a good prescription to wait until the last minute to get things done, but it's really important to have self-compassion and understand exactly, what you brought up, Laura, to understand, why the heck do I do that when I know better and I keep doing it? And, so in addition, school days are exhausting, and we get decision fatigue. All of us get decision fatigue. People with ADHD get decision fatigue faster, but we can only make so many decisions in a day, and then we're fried, as you said. And we don't want to be making any more decisions. And so we go into a passive activity like listening to music or going on a screen where something is coming to us and beckoning to us rather than us making a decision. So it's a passive decision. We slide into something that has a dopamine fix, a dopamine punch that makes us feel better. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that has to do with the reward system in the brain. So when we're craving dopamine, we're craving feeling good, feeling better. And at the end of the school day, you want to feel better. And so you end up doing, screens bump up the dopamine really quickly. So do sugary foods. So does exercise, but exercise means you've got to invest some time into it. It's not as fast as getting on a screen. And the other thing is that when we're on our screens, we often lose track of time. And so we think, I'm just gonna check one thing, or I'm just gonna go on for 15 minutes, and then I'll get my work done. And then 3 hours later, we're, feeling shame that we got sucked into it once again. It's a really common human problem across the globe, screens, and the reality that they bump up the dopamine and trigger a desire to stay with that particular behavior to keep the dopamine going.
No, I get that. I get that a lot. And it's true because, I want to feel reward. I want to feel happy after going through such an exhausting day, having to do so many decisions. And so I kind of wanted to ask, is it normal for students like myself to only do things when we're feeling panicked? Or is it just or is it not very common?
I would say it's very common. Is it healthy for us? No, as you know, no, it's not. But is it a human tendency? Yes. You know, our human tendency is to go for those things that stimulate our reward system faster. And a long term project, we don't get the reward until December when it's due and we get our grade. And so we slide into those behaviors that give us a quicker stimulation to the brain to feel better.
If I can just jump in here and ask, in terms of like how we can actually approach this sort of like process of managing our time so that we don't necessarily always rely on those like short bursts of dopamine, what are some like helpful ways that everyone can sort of like build resilience and work past this like desire to just get that immediate rush or avoid pushing things off to the last minute?
Right, right. Well, quite a few different strategies. One is to simply get some fresh air and a bit of exercise. Getting on a rebounder and getting a few bounces in, doing a few jumping jacks, going for a swim. That can get the dopamine going. And so that you can tackle something that is a little more complex or a little less interesting than social media, for example. But another strategy is, well, let me back up. Longer term assignments often feel to the brain like we're being asked to climb Mount Everest. And it's, we're not climbing Mount Everest, but that can be the impression the brain has because the brain's inside our skull. And it gets the message, don't want to do this, it's boring or it's difficult or I don't know where to start. Okay, delete. I'm not going to climb Mount Everest. And so it can be really helpful to take assignments that are due down the road and back it up to, here's when it's due, it's December 13th. Here's the date by which I want to have my rough draft, November 1st or November 15th, more reasonable. Here's when I want to have my outline done, October 15th. Here's when I want to have most of my research done, October 1st. Here's where I want to, when the date by which I want to choose my topic and refine it, September 15th. Oh my God, I guess I need to start now. And that helps stimulate I got to get on it because that step is next week that I'm planning on having it done. And then, second is developing that habit of checking your planner or whatever app you use to track assignments, checking it, breaking it down so you can see it in its chunks, and then checking your planner and taking seriously when it says, oh, this is the date by which I was going to decide my topic. I haven't started, and that is next week.
I see. Got it. That's actually very helpful to know because I think a lot of people just sort of think about like, instead of like taking steps back, they want to like move forward and they think, okay, I need to do this, then this, then this, then this, instead of going, okay, how can I like kind of backtrack?
Right.
So that's a very helpful analogy. Thank you so much.
Yeah, working backwards can really help us manage our time better.
Totally.
I also think it's very helpful, the idea of breaking things down, because I feel like when you tell our brain like, hey, like let's get an essay done in 2 weeks, I think just like having like the full essay, it's a lot. But then when you mentioned like specific things of, okay, have maybe like an outline, like have your research done, create a draft, I think that might be a little bit more manageable than having to think like, okay, I have to spend like 5 hours in one day to write an essay.
Right, right. You know, it's also when you get to whatever chunk you're working on, let's say brainstorming topics, um, and you're wanting to go to social media or scroll on your phone, go to YouTube, you know, it can be helpful to say to oneself, wait a minute, I need to get this done, and I'm feeling overwhelmed uh, by brainstorming my topics, possible topics. What's the first thing I need to do? Well, the first thing I need to do is to look at the description of the assignment and remind myself what the assignment is. Oh, okay, I can do that. That I can do. And then I get that done. And then it's, what's the next thing I need to do? I need to find my pen and a piece of paper or open up my laptop to a document. Okay, I can do that. It becomes more can do when it's just the really behavioral next step. You know, what a spider on the wall would see me doing. So it's not write my essay.
Yeah.
No, definitely. Do you think those schools and families, I guess, tend to underestimate the challenge that students have with, like just getting the task done sometimes, especially when they are extremely exhausted and they've had a full day of nonstop, like, brain stimulation of having to work?
Yeah. Well, I think it's, you know, parents, students, and staff, school staff can get anxious about students doing well and completing work. And so there's a lot of pressure in our culture to do well rather than do good enough. And it's not that I'm not a fan of do well. I think that doing well in those areas that are of high interest or that we really want to do well in because it's going to serve an interest of ours is really, really important. But the pressure to do well across the board, to do well in sports, to do well academically, to do well socially, to do well in your family, to do well with your sleep, oh my God, it's too much. But I think that also in addition, another piece of your question is, I think that schools really would serve students better in teaching executive functions. Mm-hmm. So, some elementary school teachers do a decent job of that in 4th, 5th grade. But it really needs to continue through middle school and high school. And there usually isn't a separate course on how to organize and manage your schoolwork. And a separate course for every student on that would be really valuable. Colleges have courses on this. Why do we not have it in middle school and high school for every student?
When you mentioned that colleges have this, is it actually like a class that you can take?
Yes, sometimes it's a study skills workshop. Sometimes it's an actual class that you can take for credit. Sometimes it's a homework meeting club where there's senior students that give guidance and help with organizational tasks and time management and, share the skills that they've learned over time.
Wow, that's very interesting. Thank you. I didn't know about that.
I think there's a teacher at Landmark College. She's retired now, but she used to teach a course on how to write a 5-sentence, 5-paragraph essay on anything. Don't you think all of us should have been taught how to write a 5-sentence, 5-paragraph essay on anything?
Yes. Oh my God.
A template, a structure. Mm-hmm. And our brains like templates. Our brains do better with habits. They do better with seeing, an example of what the teacher's looking for. But they do even better when there's an outline of how to go about accomplishing the task for me, for my topic.
Wow, yeah.
No, I think about just like for me how it started with procrastination for myself, and I think I remember COVID, like when COVID happened.
Oh, yeah.
That really started like when I really found out like, oh wait, I procrastinate all the time. And I remember because we would have like asynchronous, which would mean that we just do our work by ourselves and we don't meet with the teachers. And so I kid you not, I would go on YouTube for the whole day, like the whole day, and it'd only be like 7 p.m. when I realized, like, wait a second, I have like five different classes, all of them have work, and I have not even started that homework. And so I do think that it would have been very beneficial because I don't think schools ever teach you like how exactly to manage your time. I think they kind of just expect you to know it. And I find it so interesting that they have it in college, but then for especially for high school students and middle school students, they just expect you to already have it.
Right, right. And if you don't have it, you really get left behind. And COVID really, showed that contrast between a structure being provided and no structure. And what you experienced was when there was no structure, you just whittled away your time. There wasn't an expectation or a habit that at 11 you go to your math class. And so there's, the schools setting up structures for students, but then schools should be teaching students how to set up their own structure for their homework time. So, developing a habit of after school, I need a half an hour to relax. And then at 4:00, I open up my laptop and I check the school site on what's due tomorrow. And then I get started on it. And setting timers for, I'm going to spend 45 minutes on my math. If it's not done, I'm moving on to English because I've got 3 subjects I need to cover tonight, including science, which is going to take me forever. So I need to set a timer for a deadline for each topic, for each subject.
Right. Yeah, and totally. I also think that like a major issue is that when people struggle with procrastination and time management, they blame it on themselves and their own characters sometimes. That, oh, I'm a lazy person, I'm not a hard worker, which is not true.
I'm not smart.
Exactly.
And shame.
Yes, and guilt and shame can be extremely debilitating emotions. And
absolutely.
I think part of it is like you mentioned, and like Laura was mentioning with her own experience, I mean, we come back from a full day of school. Our brains have been working constantly all day, and then we're expected to go back home and then again work to keep up. And so I think that a lot of people honestly just, I mean, they're drained. And there's somewhat also a sense of like fear or like anxiety associated with like starting the task versus like actually doing it. Like the thing about anticipating starting the task versus actually just starting it, I think is something which people have a hard time crossing when they just need to get work done. Do you feel like this is kind of an issue which contributes to procrastination?
Absolutely, you nailed it. And it's true for adults in their work life and their home life, getting the taxes done, paying the bills, working on a long-term work project that got assigned to you that you're really not interested in. Procrastination is it's a challenge. And gosh, there was something that you said about anxiety, that anticipatory anxiety about getting started. And there's, it's really important to come up with a byline, a mantra, a phrase that one can say to oneself to get started. I can tell you a couple of examples. I know a woman psychologist who also specializes in ADHD and has ADHD, and she would get stuck on the couch, and she would have laundry to do and stuff around the house to clean up and dishes to do, and she'd be stuck on the couch on her phone. She would take her phone and she'd set an alarm, and she'd throw it across the room to the chair across the room, and it would land in the chair, and she'd sit in her current chair until that alarm went off, an annoying alarm, and it would make her get up to go turn off the alarm, and just moving gets the brain moving too. So when we're stuck, to move our body, get up and stretch, do a couple jumping jacks, do a couple stretches, just get up and go get water, drink of water in the kitchen and come back to your room. Anything that moves your body can help your brain cut loose from being stuck. Another example that I use, I borrow and I use for myself, is I'll say to myself, I'll be avoiding something. I don't want to do it. I don't want to put the dishes in the dishwasher. Something that's going to take me 3 minutes. But my mind is saying Mount Everest, I don't want to do it. And I'll say, just do it. Not in a bossy tone, but in a loving, supportive, fairy godmother tone. Just do it. It's like, oh yeah, I can do it.
Yeah. I like that. Just do it.
Yeah, those are really, really good tips, and I will definitely be trying that when I'm ever stuck.
Yeah. We have to run a lot of experiments to find what works for our own brains.
Yeah. There was one that I actually saw it's like the countdown method where you count till 5 with 5, 4, 3,
Yes.
1, and you get up and you do your thing.
Yes. That was the third one I was going to mention, and then I forgot it. Yeah. Yeah. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for some people it works really well.
Yeah. That kind of brings me to like a different idea. But as you may know, Anushka and I, we are both in high school and we live in the Bay Area. So I think this area can get quite competitive with our other peers, and especially with like other schools. And especially because we're thinking about college, like where am I going to go to college? And so sometimes I notice with like the classes that they're taking, the things that they do, it's people overload themselves with so many things. They get so burnt out. And so I notice that sometimes, like, even with myself, like if I'm doing too much, I feel like I end up procrastinating more. And I wanted to ask, is that like kind of like correlated with like if you do too much, you are more likely to like have this one day where you procrastinate the whole day, or it's just harder for you to get up? And so that's
right. Yeah, it's again decision fatigue and overload. Yeah, it's like I was saying before, we live in this culture that's high pressure, where it's valued, overvalued. Oh my God, I only got 5 hours sleep last night. Like that makes you a hero, rather than that's really foolish because you're not going to remember things as clearly today. You only got 5 hours of sleep. Just I'm doing this and I'm doing that and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And students, the stress on students and the anxiety, and don't sacrifice your mental health on the gravestone of college. College is a stepping stone, and there's lots of ways to get an education, including internships, including community college, including occupational programs that teach you a skill directly instead of through books. There's so many ways to get an education, and our culture just tends to value and overvalue getting into the best colleges, and it puts a lot of pressure on kids. That I agree, it's not helpful.
No, thank you. I'm honestly just like, I don't know what else to say because I feel like you articulated it so well.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, no, I think what I wanted to add is just that people are really sacrificing their authentic happiness for just being able to say that they did all these things to get some sort of external validation.
Right.
And what ends up happening is that people who take on like 6 APs or all these clubs and things, they are just like you said, they're just overloaded with all these decisions. And not only is it like, yes, in some way it forces you to understand time management, but it isn't necessarily time management done in a healthy way. Because if you're able to efficiently get all your work done, then yes, like you're managing your tasks, but are you also managing your time in a way which prioritizes sleep, which prioritizes social interactions, and things like that, which
And not to forget creativity.
and and creativity as well, exactly. And so many people are lacking this, so they're not necessarily seeing time management in a holistic sense. I just wanted to add that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're really onto something there. You know, we have one life. Well, as far as we know, my granddaughter said she's going to come back and live again, and she's going to be Simba. She's 4, but we don't. You know, we have one life that we know of for sure, and it's my life. It's your life, and we really need to discover what we enjoy in life and what we enjoy doing, because that will lead to a career that excites us, that where we don't procrastinate most of the time because we're thrilled to be doing what we're doing. And in order to discover what we love, we need to play, we need creative time, we need exploration time, we need downtime.
No, I think also a lot of the times when people think about is that they think that it's normal not to have downtime at all, to always be doing something, getting a task done, be working their way up. And I think for a lot of high schoolers, we've gone to this idea where it's like, it's just like in our stage right now, college is kind of like, it's like a finish line. So we think that once we're at college, like we're done, we're going to be done. But then I think a lot of the times people forget is that like, also depending on like, if you hate like this competitive environment, like college is going to be a little bit similar to that. Like they're going to be asking like what clubs you do, like what research you're doing. And so I do think that like, if you don't, like, I feel like it's normal to not to have to work, to not to want to work all the time and to enjoy not having to do anything, because I do think that's like a part of being human is being able to relax and feel at peace with yourself sometimes.
And heaven forbid that as adults we have playtime. That isn't going to the bar and drinking alcohol.
Very well said. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Laura, did you have any more points, or should we?
I was just gonna say, like, I guess beyond time management and organizational skills, how do you think that will later translate into like someone's, I guess, success in life, like maybe like the college that they go to, the careers that they have, or the relationships that they make? And also, what is one thing that people just misinterpret about time management in general?
Okay, I'm going to separate those out. If you can remember that second question for me.
I will.
Yeah. I think that it's really important for us when we're younger to learn how to establish habits that help us get done what we need to get done and what we want to get done. That ability to know how to build habits is a lifelong skill that's going to serve you when you're doing something that you just love to death all day long, and you need to manage your time. You still have to be able to manage time and organize your work and organize your life and your day and make sure the windows get cleaned at home, and make sure that the trash gets taken out, and that you've got, time for your kids and time to get your work done that you brought home. So it's, having habits is really important. Like one habit that I really respect that some parents are doing is having a time when everybody's phone goes into a drawer in the family, and they can do whatever they want to do, but it's not phone time. And that includes the adults.
No, I think that's very important to take note.
Yeah, screen-free
And
time.
The second question that I had was just what is something that a lot of students or just individuals misinterpret about time management itself?
Good question. I don't know if I have an answer to that. I think, again, asking oneself, what matters to me? Where do I want to spend my time? Am I happy being a student who passes all classes and who excels on my cello? Is that where I want to spend the majority of my time after school, is practicing the cello? Okay, how am I going to manage passing my classes and having enough time for my cello? And I think that we often, as we humans tend to do, take sort of a passive stance of whatever is expected of me is what I have to time manage, rather than what matters to me and what do I want to prioritize. And what matters to me, not just at this moment where I want to go on, FaceTime, but what matters to me in the long haul. What do I want to accomplish this year for myself? Not for my parents, not for my teachers, not for the culture, but for myself. What do I want to get out of this next year? And then making sure that I time manage that into my schedule. Enough of it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Which is why I took that walk in Muir Woods on Wednesday morning before work. It's like, I need my redwoods before it starts raining.
Yes, and vitamin D and fresh air. No,
Right, and forest bathing.
Forest, yes. My grandma told me about that as like a concept because she also loves nature. So, beautiful. I might just sort of also ask another wrap-up question, if that's okay. Thank you for your beautiful answers. So I want to ask, for students listening who feel overwhelmed or really just stressed about managing different tasks they need to do, what's the first small change they can make to feel more in control of their time?
Yeah. Well, I think asking themselves, writing down all the stuff that they have to do, and then circling those things that really matter to them, prioritizing those into their calendar, whether that's an app or a hard copy calendar, and then putting in all the other stuff around what matters to them most. Like, I love my career and my work. And I was at one point very overweight, and I was working with a health coach, and he said, Holly, you need to put into your schedule first when you're going to exercise and when you're going to prepare your healthy meals. Then put in your clients. And I thought, nah, not the way we do it. We put in our clients first, and then we schedule in our, and he says, no. And by doing that, by saying, okay, I'm willing to run this experiment and put exercise into my schedule first, and when I'm going to cook healthy foods, I lost 70 pounds. 70. It took 2 years, but it was a small change, but it made a big difference. And sometimes those small changes, and that's what I really recommend when you're overwhelmed, come up with one small change that you can make in your schedule that's going to soothe you. Not escape, but actually nurture your health, nurture your mental health, nurture who you are as a person, as a unique individual.
No, that is just very, very well said. And I think just throughout this whole episode, we've both learned so much. And I really did think that you have a very nuanced perspective. And so we really appreciate being able to learn all these things and being able to hear your own perspective. It was very eye-opening, I think, as students. And then we got to hear someone who's older, who's probably had more experience.
Oh, I've had a lot more experience. Being decades older than you. Yes.
Yeah. No.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
Yes, I've really enjoyed your questions and your comments.
Oh, thank you. No, we really appreciate it. And that kind of wraps up the specific questions we had. But again, thank you so much for meeting with us and for all of the wise words you had and just the different perspectives we can incorporate, which we both think that many people will benefit from hearing from.
I hope that it'll also benefit some of your peers. Yeah.
Yes. Procrastination is the thief of time, said Charles Dickens, the famous British novelist. When we procrastinate, we struggle with understanding how to use our time, and often are overridden with guilt when we feel we've been unproductive. That feeling of putting off work for a few minutes, then an hour, then a few hours, it's frustrating and overwhelming. We lead busy lives and are constantly juggling school, work, family time, social obligations, sports, clubs, emails, getting enough sleep, eating well, and being human. But like Dr. Searle said, procrastination can become easier to manage when we decide to take control of it in a self-compassionate but practical way. So maybe start off by quietly saying to yourself, "Let me just do it now." Or maybe write out a to-do list with fun colors. If you've put off a task you have to do, don't spend time feeling guilty. Instead, use that energy towards working and completing it. Time doesn't always have to feel like it's running out. Maybe we just have to treat it like it's starting over again, so we can learn how to appreciate it even more. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of The People We Meet. Stay tuned for more content about teen experiences and authentic conversations. Till next time.